had nowhere to bloody put him. And I was like, I can't leave him. So I carried I carried my ferret out in a Topshop shoebox.
Your friend Emma and your ferret.
Yeah, he was called Rio. When you're younger, you're just not scared of opportunity, are you?
Yeah,
you take opportunities and just things pop up and you just think, yeah, great, go for it. Why not? Why not? You know, I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Whereas, like, the older you get, the more you question stuff. I was like, oh, I'll be managing that place within 6 months, and I did.
Welcome to We're Done Pretending, a Reflective Rebels podcast. I'm Ben, a coach and rebel, and I work with business owners, and I'm on a mission to spread joy. Joy that comes from understanding who you are, knowing what you want, and going out there and getting it, no matter what life throws in your way. Each fortnight, I sit down with a business owner who's brave enough to open up about the real story, to put the shiny LinkedIn profile to one side for a moment and let us know what it's really been like, the joy, the crap, the mess and the meaning, the good bits and the bad. And I hope that by hearing someone else's story, you might feel a little less alone. You might understand something about your own life and yourself, and perhaps you might be inspired to do something a little different that might bring more joy into your life. And with me today, I've got Kat on the sofa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's great. So I usually start somewhere a little bit unexpected, just to get us into the conversation.
Okay.
So question one is, tell us about your perfect Friday night.
Oh, God. Do you know what? Probably... this sounds really... How should we go on the perfect Friday night or what happens on a Friday night? So usually like
We'll
Friday,
do both. Now you said that.
Friday's my cleaning night, which is really rubbish, isn't it? And like, but there's method to my madness, because what happens is we all get in. I usually finish like at a decent time on a Friday, and then me and the kids get in. We blast it for like 2 hours. We're like, right, come on, let's just get it all done. So we'll blast it for like 2 hours or an hour or whatever. Get everything. Everyone's got their own little job, so we all work through it. By like 5, 6 o'clock, everything's done, and then that's me for the weekend. Don't have to think about it. Bottle of Prosecco gets cracked open, telly gets switched on, happy days.
That's blowing my mind for a lot of reasons. Right, okay. We're just going to turn this into a parenting podcast for
Brilliant.
a moment, because I know, you tell us how old your kids are.
Tegan's 16, she's about to turn 17 next month. And then Roman is 10.
How the hell have you turned that into a team tidy on a Friday night? Please gift us with this knowledge.
Do you know what? It's only because obviously there's just me and the kids. So in order for me to do all the running around that I've got to do during the week, that's the compromise. It's literally just that. It's like, right, do you know what? If I've got to do all this all week, running around to football, dancing, this, that and the other, then you've got to pitch in and help me when it comes down to it. And it's like, if it's an hour or whatever, I just say, right, it's an hour and then it's done. We don't have to think about it, rather than dragging it out and making it a big thing.
I'm going to try it.
Good luck.
I can't see it working, but I am inspired already.
It's my thing. And do you know what? I'm all about that whole tidy house, tidy mind. So I'm like, do you know what? If I can't relax until it's done.
Has that always been important to you?
I think so. I think, I think because like everything's so busy in life that it's like, you know, like I kind of like my structure, which is, so sometimes it frustrates me, I get frustrated with myself about that, because I'd like to be a little bit more carefree, but sometimes I think I'm just, like really quite obsessive about it.
Are you a perfectionist?
Probably to some extent, yeah. 100%. And it drives me nuts. It drives everyone around me nuts as well, to be fair. But I put my hands up and say it. But I think that's also driven me through so many aspects. Our greatest strength. Yeah, it's absolutely
at
driven me.
At the same time as driving us insane.
100%, yeah.
So that's the actual Friday night.
Yeah.
It still might be the perfect, but you can go through the perfect as well.
I'd probably get rid of the tidying and just be like, have it already tidied for me. And that would be great. Yeah, come home, have everything done for me. If I had a cleaner, even better. Oh, that would be a dream. And then, just chill with the kids, bit of time out with the kids. Watch a bit of TV, like eat some food with them, like sit and have a family meal. Love getting around the table, maybe some friends round. Like, that's my absolute ideal. I love having, a house full. I love it to be perfect. Like, yeah. And like, like a meal around the table, or you know, like a charcuterie board or something like that. I'll make it look special then.
I think I've seen a picture. We're talking like full on
Yeah.
perfectionist style,
Love that
insane,
stuff.
Instagrammable
Yeah.
board.
Love that stuff. Yeah, that's all me. That and Prosecco. Yeah, I'm all yours.
Good. We're painting a good picture early on of who we're talking to, what you care about.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are you watching on TV? You said chilling, watching telly.
Oh
Go on,
God! Do you know what? It's whatever's kind of happening on Netflix. Really, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just
Is
like
there something you've got that all three of you can watch? That they'll all sit and watch.
Do you know what? Not really.
No,
like,
so you
it
can't
comes-
help me with that one.
They all end up like trailing
Yeah,
off. Or
drifting
Romans
off
like
to-
football. I don't mind watching the football if the football's on. Tegan's not so interested in it though, so she'll just probably like trail off at some point. But to be fair, it's background noise, isn't it? You end up sitting having more, especially if I've got my friends round. It's like background noise and it's conversation and you know giggles, isn't it? So I'd probably say that's like the best bit.
I'm interested in whether your childhood had any aspects that you've brought sort of as a mother, that Friday team tidy, clean house, clean mind. Does that come from?
Yeah, but nowhere on the same level. No way. But there's many aspects of kind of my childhood. I think because I was brought up by my mum, like in a single parent family, and there was me, my mum, and my sister. My sister was a couple of years older than me, and I think that my mum was a head teacher, so she like very full on job, it was constantly non-stop. We had loads of animals, horses, dogs, cats, like chickens, all that kind of stuff. And so there was always a lot to do. Do you know what I mean? There was always a lot of like juggling and balancing, and then it's like we'd go, swimming lessons and horse riding lessons and this, that, and the other. So it's like, kind of, I'm probably quite a carbon copy of what my mum did and like how I was brought up. And I think as well, like that even comes into the decisions I made through life, because I remember when I first kind of decided about where, like the house that I live in now, when I first decided, right, that's the kind of thing I want to go for, the whole idea was I wanted to give them and my kids an element of what I had growing up, and like the countryside and animals and, all that kind of thing. And, because I loved my childhood. So I think that, that was really important to me. But mum was always very like, I think because she's such a driven woman anyway, that was always kind of passed down to me. And, we all had to chip in and we all had to, kind of, do our own bit around the house and all that kind of thing. And yeah, that's absolutely what I made the kids do too. So yeah, 100%.
And do you think they'll pass it on, third generation?
Oh yeah, I think
you're
so.
moulding them to.
Yeah, definitely. I could like, like they're both quite like that anyway. And they're both, I think and it's funny because when I like talk to the kids about it or like other people about it and or like like Roman, for example, especially Roman with him being younger, if he's got friends around and everything, there's and I'll say, oh, can you do this and can you do that, and we'll have conversations afterwards and he'll say like, oh, they've not done that before, or like they don't do that at home or whatever. And I've quite often heard him explain and like kind of, like help them understand, oh, well, I've got to do this. I help mum because X, Y, and Z. So it's learning that, kind of, if you chip in, if you help, then, like you get, you kind of get your own rewards for that as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think it makes them feel good that they're, doing something to help. Yeah.
And they're learning those skills that they're going to need. I remember getting to uni and there were people there that had never cooked, like even basic, like boiled a pan of pasta or doing any of those things. They'd never done it for themselves as a kid.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're kind of doing them a disservice if they get to that point, like, you've got to work out to do it at some point.
Roman knows how to cook up like pasta and pasta sauce and pizzas and like, hoover the house and polish and, recycling, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Setting him up for life.
Yeah, exactly. He'll make a good husband.
So you've talked a bit about sort of childhood. Tell us about school and, younger you. What were you up to?
Well, again, because obviously mum was a head teacher and we were by ourselves with mum, we like for the majority. Originally, I'm from the northeast,
right?
So we're not from this side. And then just as I was in the summer between, you know, kind of being like 3 and 4, like going to primary school, we moved over to Cumbria. And we literally moved on top of a hill, like just like on the kind of just outside of Carlisle. Moved onto the top of the hill, like views over to Scotland, middle of nowhere, no kids, nothing, like fields and everything around us. Had all the horses. I mean, it was insane. It was absolutely amazing. But then, I first went to school in a tiny little village school that was literally about 12 pupils from 4 years to 11 years. It was tiny. And it was it was called Milburn, just outside Penrith. And we went there for a couple of years, travelled with Mum, because obviously she was the head there, travelled with her. And my dad was around at that point. And then... we ended up going, and then my mum got another headship, but it was back over in the northeast. So what would happen is me and my sister ended up travelling every day over to County Durham with my mum. And then kind of towards the end of that time, I mean, we'd set off, God knows what time in the morning, come back late at night. And when I think about it now, I don't know how she did it all, you know, like you kind of have that, you know, fresh insight to things as you get older, don't you? And you look back and you think, oh God, like how on earth did you manage that? So like holding down a headship, you know, and then like all animals, like 2 young kids and all that kind of thing. Yeah, like, you know, like so much respect for my mum. Like she's been the absolute driving force of me. But yeah, she, once we'd done that, it got to I think the last 2 years of my primary school, I ended up going to school in Wigton. My mum still had the same headship, and my dad left by this point to go and work over in Kuwait as a teacher as well. So he left to go to Kuwait. A couple of years later, they split up. Yeah. But we were just very much by ourselves, and it was always just kind of like me, Mum, and Liz. And so anyway, like the last couple of years of primary, I went to school in Wigton, and obviously Mum was still setting off at the crack of dawn, so it would be a case of me and my sister and my sister's only like 2 years older than me, so I think she just started it was her like, you know, year 7, just started secondary. So we'd lock up the house in the morning, like make sure all the animals were away and everything, because Mum had already left. Get the school bus home at night, and we'd be back before Mum did. So then we'd, you know, like all that kind of thing. And that's just how it was from really early. Yeah. And it's like, you know, like you have a lot of, you know, you gain a lot of independence and awareness quite quickly, I think, you know, like being like that. But I don't think it was anything bad, you know, like I don't...
See it positively.
I completely see it positively. And I think that, you know, had she been in a different situation, or, you know, like Dad was still around or whatever, it might have been a bit different. But that was just what the situation was. And like, you know, and we all just cracked on with it.
Just made the best of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't say there was anything bad about it, because we had an amazing life. You know, we lived in an amazing place. We had all these animals and all this freedom, and, you know, like it was brilliant. Like, yeah, I look back on my childhood really fondly. Yeah.
So did you go to high school in Wigton?
Yes, went to secondary in Wigton, at which point we moved into Wigton. Right. We left the house on the hill and went into Wigton itself.
How did that feel as a teenager?
Yeah, at first it was, I mean, I went from like very small schools and not having, you know, kind of, there wasn't like a lot of friends around, to suddenly go into this school where obviously, like, especially at somewhere like Nelson Tom, you've get the little schools that obviously feed into that, and it's like everyone's been together forever, you know, like they've seen each other grow up like all those years. And obviously I didn't have that. There was like 1 or 2 people that I'd maybe known for a year or 2. So I remember that being quite a, you know, like quite a thing. Like I was aware of it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a problem, but I was just very aware of it. And I think from there, obviously I just started building friendships. I like built friendships with people that I kind of lived around where I lived and all that. And then, just kind of, I feel like I sailed through secondary school.
Did you enjoy it?
I found secondary quite, I didn't, like, I did and I didn't. I think that I think because I was quite mature for my age, like kind of going into it, probably from like all the situations I'd had, it was, I kind of felt like I was probably like being older before my time and just trying to get to the end bit really. And then, yeah, just kind of, I sailed through it in the way that I probably didn't try as hard as I could have.
Oh, okay.
But then came out of it with like amazing results, you know. And my mum was always like, you're just so. My sister had to work a lot harder than me to get like, you know, like the same results. But I was just a bit like, having the time of my life and, you know, Mrs. Social and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it was. But I did find it a little bit challenging in some respects, and friendships, and there's a lot of movement and, you know, maybe a bit of cattiness and stuff, and like it's secondary school, isn't
especially
it?
being a girl in secondary school.
You go through so many changes, you know what I mean? It's like you're going from being a child, aren't you, into, you know, like kind of a young adult. And it's like, you know, as a matter of fact, when I got to the age of 16 and finished my GCSEs, I was literally like, that's it, as soon as I'm 16, this is what I'd say to my mum, as soon as I'm 16, I'm moving out. And she'd be like, right, okay. And then I'd get to 16 and I'd be like, right, as soon as I'm 18, I'm moving out. That's it. I'm going to do it. And she'd always be like, right, okay, yeah, whatever you want kind of thing, you know. But I went, and by the time I got to 16, I was like, I'm not ready for this. I don't know what I want to do. I'll just go and do sixth form, and like kind of breezed into that.
Carried on.
Yeah.
Breezed through.
Just like breezed into that.
What did you want when you were saying that? Freedom, a reaction, you know, looking back? What?
I just wanted, just like my freedom, my independence. Yeah, that was it.
But then when it came to it?
At 16, yeah, but as soon as I turned 18, I bought my first house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was just like, right, see you later. Yeah. So I just wanted to be, I felt by that time it was like, right, I need to go and just do something for me now.
So where did you buy a house?
Just in Carlisle.
In Carlisle.
Got, my first little
How did you manage that?
Well, back then you could get 100% mortgage.
Oh,
and yeah, exactly. And on top of it, it's like, when I think about it now, it's insane because, God, how long ago is it? It's like 25 years ago. So you could get 100% mortgage, and the first house that I bought was 32 grand. It's like, it's...
I a little bit hate you.
It's like nothing, is it? And you just think now, like I have these conversations with Tegan all the time, and she's just like, oh my God, like, you know, it's insane. But yeah, that was it. So, but it's funny though, because it's not, I still didn't do the whole like, I'm super independent. I bought the house next door to my mum's boyfriend. So it was like, someone's
just still got
there,
that comfort,
just that little
safety
bit,
net.
yeah.
Still pretty independent, still pretty bold.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
18, buying a house. So what were you doing? What was the job? How did you afford it?
Do you know what? I just, when I finished school, I just did the usual, like, the retail bits. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I'd smashed my GCSEs. I got like 5 A's, 4 B's, like did really well in that. Then went and got all my A levels, passed all those. Even did a night class while I was doing my normal A levels. I did a night class at Carlisle College in law as well. Just do you know why? Because my boyfriend at the time, he was working, but had to do a night class in something. So I was like, oh, well, if you're doing one, I'll do one as well. One too. Yeah, so I ended up doing that.
Did you have dreams of being a lawyer?
Not at all. No, but I found it interesting. I was like, like it's something I've always been quite interested in, like the subject around it. So I just thought, that might be quite cool to do.
Give it a go.
Yeah, so I just went and did it. But and then I was just went into retail, started working at H&M, and then from there went to Topshop, kind of worked up in Topshop and like became part of the management team there. And then that was kind of like the start of working life for me.
So what else is going on? Does the boyfriend stick around for those years, or is this?
Yeah, we'd been together
You've got your own
for quite
house
a long
in Carlisle.
Time. Yeah, he
working
moved
your
in
way
with
up in
me.
retail.
Yeah,
boyfriend moved in.
Yeah, at 18, all at 18, all done and dusted. And then me and the boyfriend parted ways, and then my best friend moved in. So I was like, okay, this is fun. And then when I got to, was that like 21? The first floods happened, and my house got flooded. Up to my waist in water. Yeah. But that was that was
So is that 2005?
Yeah. Which was crazy. I'll always remember it. And obviously my stepdad was next door in his house, and he was like losing his mind, and like, you know, the way like me and my friend Emma, we were just like, oh my God, like what's going to happen? Like, you know, like, whereas he's like, oh, this isn't funny. I remember him banging on the wall because we were just like, you know, like, oh, what are we going to get? And it's like, you're just like, well, you don't know what's going to happen to you. And you're like, we're trying to save the most random things. And it's just like, you just let it all go. It's like, it's absolutely pointless. But yeah, it was what an experience that was. Yeah.
So what happened to the house?
Well, it was really eerie because obviously, like, you know, you see the water coming, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, it's like, you know, like it kind of, like you see it
Just
filling up the
filling up.
street, and then you see it coming up.
So you were in the house?
We
as
stayed
it's
in the
filling
house,
up?
yeah, because we were just like, well, where else do we go? And obviously the 2005 floods were really bad. So it was like, you know, like there wasn't really anywhere you could go. And we didn't know, like, there wasn't anyone that had ever talked to us about it. Now, I think because it's happened so many times, like people recall the stories and, you know, like they have an understanding of what you do, or like, you know, and obviously all the alerts that are around now, you kind of, you know, if it's going to come in, you know, you've got the likelihood of it hitting you in your house and stuff. So it's like, if you want to get out, you can get out.
Yeah.
And, so we just sat there. And as well, like, I was really young, right? So it's like everybody on the street, like older people, they've been there for years, they've got families, like, you know, they've got kids there, or they're older, or, you know, they've got housefuls of like all the like memories and like, you know, like all the things that they've built for years. I didn't, do you know what I mean? I had like secondhand pots and pans and, you know, like just bits that were cobbled together, really, you know, it wasn't anything special. And yeah, like and then, you know, the water was just, I remember the water just filling up the house. And then we kept running downstairs to see like where it had got to and all that. But then obviously all the electric goes off, like it gets really cold, and then it becomes really eerie because it's things like the fridge freezer will just fall over. You've obviously unplugged everything, like the fridge freezer will fall over because it's just full of air. So that's bobbing around, smashing into things. And you can hear the water in your house. You can hear things like banging around. Yeah. It's pitch black. And it's like, you know, like, it's weird, really eerie. Yeah, very strange.
So were you scared?
Yeah, like from what I can remember, yeah. Like, I'm not really scared. Like, I was there with Emma, but you just like, you don't know, like, what's going to happen. And then, you know, some of the people across the road, they were getting rescued because they had young kids. Yeah. They were getting rescued and put in the boats and all that kind of thing. And in the end, we ended up walking out. Like, one of my friends came down and had parked kind of like, you know, like where they could get to us. And we ended up walking out. Now, one thing I haven't told you is I had a pet ferret. And he was all like litter trained and all that kind of thing. But I had this pet ferret. And at the time, Topshop, because I worked there, had these shoe boxes, right, that were like, they pulled through on a string. Like, so you could kind of carry them, carry these shoe boxes on the string. I had nowhere to bloody put him, and I was like, I can't leave him. So I carried I carried my ferret out in a Topshop shoebox.
Your friend Emma and your ferret.
Yeah, he was called Rio. He was my babe, and that was it. And off we toddled, and we stayed at my friend's for a little while until it all went. I know.
It sounded like you were having fun.
Yeah, it was great. I know. Yeah.
Having fun.
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was great times. And do you know what? As much as it's awful to go through it, and like, you know, like after that, it's like 6 months of getting it dried out. Yeah,
it's the next bit, isn't it? Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Like I went and moved in, you know, kind of with a friend and all that. But I mean, you're in Sherwood, like everything's covered and stuff. And to be fair, it was the biggest blessing for me because I've got my whole house done. I got my house done out and it was absolutely amazing after that, like spanking new kitchen and all like lovely floorings and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, brilliant. Saved me a fortune. Not everyone had that feeling though, but
no.
Understandably
But you were able to make the best of it.
100%. Yeah.
Make the best of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have fun.
I know. But, right, so you're going to laugh. So after I'd done that, I think it gave me a massive realisation, right? Because I think it's just that suddenly being aware that everybody else is like, people's lives are just getting washed away. And I think until that point, it's always been kind of hammered into me, and like, you know, kind of, and I think a lot for our generation, probably it's like, you go and get a mortgage and you pay your mortgage off and and all this kind of thing. And I think for me, it was that sudden realization that like, it's literally just bricks and mortar. Like, it can go like that,
change.
you know? And I think just seeing everybody else and like how distraught they were and how much they'd worked so hard on the houses and all these memories and everything. And for me, it was that thing of, like, you know, there's definitely more to life than just this. And it gave me a real boot up the arse, to be fair. So then what happened was, the guy who's like a really good friend, like, he's an older guy. He used to, because obviously there was some real crap days and stuff, and he'd be like, "Come on, I'll take you out." And I wasn't living in my house. You're living out of like, you know, bags and you know, cases and stuff like that. So he's like, "Right, come on, we'll go out and we'll you know, go to Fantails for some food and champagne and all this kind of stuff." So we're like, "Oh yeah, brilliant." So me and a couple of friends would go out with like him, and we'd have a great time. And I remember being like really down in the dumps and being like, "Oh, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I just don't think I'm happy at Topshop anymore, blah, blah, blah." And he went, "Come work for me and I'll teach you how to plaster," right? And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "All right then." So I quit my job and went and worked for him. Yeah. And went and worked for him to be a plasterer. So I stayed with him and did that for a bit. And like even worked like on my own house and like loads of the flooded properties and all that kind of thing. And then
so for the listener who's not watching on YouTube, you are immaculately dressed. Your nails are perfect.
and here she is with a plaster.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure people who are listening can just get this image
100%.
of you plastering in their minds. Yeah. Because that, you know, I've known you a while and I didn't know that. I didn't know that part of the story.
Exactly. Oh, God, there's so much more, Ben.
So just because? Why?
Just because, do you know what? I was at such a crossroads. I think it was just like, what am I going to do? Like, where is life taking me to? And it just felt like, you know, when you're younger, you're just not scared of opportunity, are you? You take opportunities and just things pop up and you just think, yeah, great, go for it. Why not? Why not? You know, I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Whereas like the older you get, the more you question stuff. And, oh, is it going to work? And finances and this and that and the other. But I mean, I'm still in exactly the same position, obviously, apart from having the kids. Like, you know, like I've still got bills to pay and a mortgage to pay and this and that and the other, you know, now. But it's like, you know, back then it was just, why not? If I'm going to get paid for doing this job, let's go and do it. And it's like, what else was I doing really? Retail? Well, I can go and get a job in any shop. Do you know what I mean? That didn't really matter. So off I went on my merry way. I know, madness.
So how long did you do that for?
I probably did that for about like 6 months, like going up to a year or something. And then I was like, do you know what? I think I want to move to London.
Where did that come from?
I just think I was like, I'd done some bits and bobs of like, you know, like little bits of modelling and all that kind of thing, just like nothing major. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go and do some modelling. I'm going to go to London and like, you know, pursue that. Yeah. So, and then within 2 weeks of deciding that, I was like, right, my friend Emma moved back into the house because that was ready. She moved back in. We got a tenant in with her as well. She just looked after it. And then, within 2 weeks, I'd moved out of London and went and moved in with a friend who already lived there and just literally like surfed for a couple of months until I figured out what I was going to do.
Just a quick pause. At Reflective Rebels, I'm on a mission to spread joy. I create these podcast conversations because I think we're all hungry for something real. Not advice, not quick fixes, just honest human stories that remind us we're not alone in the mess. If this conversation is making you feel something, would you help me grow the rebellion and share it with just one person who might need to hear it? Maybe someone who's also tired of pretending everything's fine. Because every person who finds these stories makes this little rebellion against perfectionism and exhaustion a little bit stronger. Back to our conversation. Was that same why not mentality?
Literally, yeah.
Just I'm going to do it.
Just go for it, yeah. Just go for it. Now I just think, oh my God, what was I thinking? That's wild, isn't it? But yeah, I knew I had my house. My house was there. It was getting paid for. Everything was fine. And it definitely came from the whole thing of being having that massive, the floods and everything, and having this massive kind of slap of reality to be like, oh, do you know what? It's not just about paying my mortgage.
COVID did a similar thing more recently to people, didn't it? Everyone was questioning because actually we realised some of the things we were just took for granted.
Yeah.
They can be
100%.
Switched off overnight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so
literally, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that those kind of really personal moments of clarity have come from have been my key key forces of change. I think definitely.
So that moment of clarity, what was the dream when you moved to London? What was the dream in your head?
Do you know what? It was like, right, I'm going to go down. So I did the whole glamour thing, right? Like the whole page 3 thing and all that. I was like, yeah, that's, that's where I'm going. So that's where I took myself, right? And I started off doing, because I'd already obviously worked with the Arcadia Group and Topshop and all that. I started as one of the management team because Miss Selfridge were reopening in Selfridges.
Yeah.
So we went, so I went and did that and everything. Obviously, kind of did that for a very short period of time. And then obviously went and did the whole glamour thing. But then, because I'd said yes to doing that, I then got introduced very, very early on to, I was out for a night out, with some of the girls. And I got introduced there were actually some of the girls that worked in Stringfellows, right? Not that I'd ever worked in Stringfellows, but they all did. And they were on a night out and we bumped into this group of guys and they introduced me and they were like, oh, this guy's called Darren. He's got a music channel. He's got music channels on Sky. Well, I'd never had Sky, right? So I was like,
yeah, we didn't back then.
Cool. And whatever, it was what it was. So yeah, I was like, oh, right, good to meet. Anyway, I start cracking to this guy, right? And he's originally from Hull. So we're there, loads of northern
doing the
banter,
northern thing.
as you do. And chattering away and stuff. And he's like, oh, you're you're good crack. Take my card. If you ever want a job, give me a shout. Right? And I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, the next day I phoned him like, hiya, do you remember me? And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh, come in, come and see us, come and have an interview and all that kind of stuff. And now I look back at it and I'm like, he definitely wanted just a bit of office totty, right? But then I always laugh about it because I'm like, he got way more than he bargained for. So then, so I went, had this meeting with him and he was like, well, what do you need? In terms of, kind of salary and stuff, what do you need? And I said to him, I was like, oh, I need this much. He's like, right, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, okay, great. So he's like, when do you want to start? I was like, brilliant. So I went and started, just answering the phones, doing a bit of admin, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, the first day I went in there, I came back and spoke to some friends and I was like, oh, I'll be managing that place within 6 months. And I did. And then that was me managing a TV station on Sky.
Within 6 months?
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
How did
I know it's a whirlwind.
How?
It was just, you know what? It was a really independent, little station. Brilliant. Honestly, now I just I've got such amazing memories of it. That was a real that built my career for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just there was a really young team that were on board. I'd probably been through more in terms of life experience and just even in terms of my managerial experience and things like that, managing teams.
That you built up doing those jobs.
Literally. And it was obviously I was only 22, 23, but obviously I'd had kind of that 5-6 years of experience doing bits and bobs along the way that a lot of those guys didn't have. And yeah, like, you know, and again, like, you know, kind of like the structured way that I do things, it was like that's what was needed within the role as well. So, you know, kind of it just fell into place. And I think he was a bit like, oh, do you know what? Like this is perfect. It fits really well.
So when you say managing a TV channel, for those of us who don't know what that means, like me, a music channel, tell us what does that mean? What were you doing?
I mean, like, I had to like the way that our TV channel worked. There was a lot of music submissions and things. So, like, basically, and the type of music we did, it was all very much in like kind of the UK grime and rap scene. British black music was like, you know, kind of like the key kind of area that we covered, and so for me, it was literally everything from taking submissions to having like playlist meetings with the rest of the team, deciding what's going on to the channel, going through all of the like lyrics and everything, like figuring out what needs taken out, what's being allowed to kept in, like with Ofcom regulations, like what's going to work with those. Obviously, like, you know, looking at any kind of advertising, how we can do like advertising space, liaising with any of like the labels, things like that. Obviously, like, you know, kind of responding to like, you know, like Darren, who was like our manager and everything. But in the end, he was very much just like, over to you, Kat, you know, like that was, and it was my baby, like it became my baby. So yeah, like from everything from answering the phones to, you know, all the way through, it was just like, right, like, and I just took complete ownership of the whole thing.
The 7-year-old on a hill in Coldbeck with her horses and pigs.
Right.
What's she thinking?
Yeah.
What's she thinking
How
when
did
you're
Kat
doing
get
that?
there? Yeah. Oh God, honestly. I mean, like, do you know what I always remember as a kid? My dad was always like, yeah, oh, Miss Independent Annie, he'd always call me and all that. And it was just, I think that, you know, my parents always just filled me with that, like very much like, go out and get it. Like the world's yours, like just crack on, like, you know, like do what you need to do kind of thing. And, you know, and I think that I really do instill that same kind of vibe with the kids, with my two as well, 100%. But it was like, you know, like just fear not, like don't be scared of anything. Just go out there and have a go. If you don't like it, change it. Simple, isn't it? You know, like we all, and I say that now because I'm the biggest overthinker, but it's like, you know, it creeps in more and more, I think, as you get older, doesn't it? But yeah, like, you know, like you're just so fearless.
You were young and fearless.
Yeah, brilliant.
Amazing. So how long did you do that for?
I did that for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did that for 7 years. And then from that, because obviously I'd built up such a reputation within the music scene and like built so many connections with like labels, like everyone within that scene as well was very much like, you'd have DJs that were part of like, you know, like rap groups or like grime crews or whatever. So everyone was connected. Do you know what I mean? And
that was its time probably, wasn't it?
Massively. 100%.
That moment of...
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then everyone grew together, you know, so it's, you know, like like huge names, like with like at radio and all that kind of thing. They were all people that had been submitting music to me. So it was like, you know, you had all these different connections to people, and like you were all just part of the same pot, really. Like, and everyone, you know, most people just got on with each other and like had that respect for each other. So what happened was we actually sold the TV channel to Universal Records. So it went over to them. And obviously by this time, like TV was starting to decline anyway, especially music TV, the rise of YouTube, all that kind of thing. So it was very much a point where I thought, oh, you know, where am I going next? It was starting to feel a bit stagnant. It was
back to plastering, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right. No, I didn't. So, but I could have.
You could have. You had it to fall back on.
Exactly. And then we, when we sold it over to Universal Records, I kind of felt at that time I had so much loyalty and so much ownership over the channel, even though it wasn't mine, that I felt like I should have probably left a couple of years before I did. But my loyalty to obviously like my boss and like my love for the channel and everything, I couldn't do it. I stayed. However, again, not a bad thing, because what I did was I started my own PR label on the back of it. So I started 10 letter, 10 letter PR and 10 letter radio. And like obviously with all the connections that I had, having such a great name, like obviously within the business and everything, like people would just come into me all day long, like, can you help me? Can you help me promote my music? Can you help me get it onto this radio station or onto this TV channel or, you know, like in this magazine or whatever? And it's like, yeah, like it just segued nicely into doing that.
You were just positioned to make that happen for people.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Other than why not then, what took you from managing, which was still partly yours but was someone else's, to that leap of, I'm doing my own thing?
I didn't know where else to go. And I think at that point, because I'd had so much ownership and like I didn't really have anyone to answer to, I knew that I would find it difficult by that point
Go and get a job
go and get a job for someone. Yeah, that was literally it. I was like,
you're unemployable.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard, isn't it? I think once you've been in that situation where you're the boss, like, you know, to then kind of, you almost feel like it's going to backtrack to then go to a point where like someone's going to tell you what to do. And I just felt that's not going to work for me. You know, I just thought I need to, and I didn't really know what 10 letter was going to be, you know, when I first started it. Like I had a few conversations with people and they were just like, oh, you know, I do a PR company. And I was a bit like, oh, that just sounds so basic, you know, like I just felt like, oh, everyone's going to do a PR company. But then I thought, right, I'm just going to see where this goes. Right, I'm just going to put myself out there and be like, right, this is what I'm doing. I'm promoting music. Like, you know, I've got all these connections that people knew I had. Let's just see where it goes. And like, yeah, it just built into that. But then, you know, and then 10 letter became like, you know, this huge, you know, kind of name within that space. It was brilliant. And then I started employing people of my own, which is brilliant.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And a really important message in there. You didn't have a 50-page business plan.
No.
And knew exactly where it was going.
Never. I've never written a business plan.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. 100%.
You had an idea, a gut reaction, a bit of support, and you just cracked on with it.
Yeah, ran with it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'm a true believer in that. Like even, you know, like Tegan does bits and bobs now, and I'm just like, just try it.
Just give it a go.
Do you know what? If then you need to do something or fill in some paperwork or whatever along the way, you can always do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but like, why are you going to waste your time on doing all this? Like, you know, some people need that, right? Which I totally appreciate, totally get. And like, you know, but I already had the contacts. I didn't need to go to anyone for any kind of financial support because everything that I needed was there.
We've got it.
I had a computer, I had my contacts, everything else. So it was like, right, what do I need to do? Send emails. Well, I don't need anyone to give me any money to do that, you know? So yeah, I just got moving with it. It was brilliant.
So describe the rest of your life by this point when you're running this PR agency? What's life like in London at that time, doing this? So
do you know what? I'd moved home by then. So I had Tegan in 2008.
Yeah.
So I had in amongst all of this stuff going on, like with my business side, I always say this, right? Out of three things I'm good at too. I'm good at being a mum. I'm good at like my business, absolutely crap in relationships, right? Although.
So there's another thread in that story.
Literally, yeah. So I met Tegan's dad like through the music industry and everything. Had like there was red flags pinging off everywhere, but chose to ignore every single one of them, however, as we do. And then, I had Tegan in 2008. I had my whole pregnancy completely by myself, apart from my friend. Well, actually, my friend that I lived with at the time, we were in London, lovely little flat that we had in London, just up from King's Cross. And I went through my entire pregnancy by myself. And then he popped up about a week before she was due. And then we kind of rekindled a little bit, all that kind of thing. I'm obviously still managing the channel at the time.
Yeah.
I had 6 weeks maternity leave because I couldn't afford to be off.
Do anything else.
And so I had to go back. So I had literally I finished maybe, did I finish 2 weeks before I had her and went a month after I'd had her, and she went into nursery in London, which was a fortune, as you can imagine.
So you moved back to Cumbria?
I went to stay with my friend who luckily took me in. And my other friend by this point lived in the first house that I'd bought when I was 18. And she just said, right, that's fine, Kat, we'll just find somewhere else to go and you can come back and move back home. And within about 3 months I was back in my own house, and there was just me and Tegan. Yeah. And that was us, full circle. But I was still managing the channel.
So you managed the channel from there?
Yeah,
and
managed
launched
the channel remotely.
The PR agency from there?
Yeah, and did all of that. So then, literally from 2009 onwards, that was it. I was back.
Here.
I was doing everything from Carlisle, up and down to London every couple of weeks. Just jumped on the train, stayed down there for a night, or I'd go get the first train down, last train home. And I was really lucky because my mum and my sister and my friends and everything, they were really supportive and helped me with Tegan and stuff. So it was great.
So you've told us what running a TV channel means. What does running a PR agency means?
Yeah.
I think PR is very mystical.
That was obviously for me very mystical. Why?
That's a sad thing to
mystical?
know. What do PR people do?
What do PR people do? I mean, obviously it's a bit of it's strange now. I think in this day and age, it's such a different thing because I think it's so much more marketing. But obviously back then you had magazines and TV and radio, and they were still real driving forces in media. So obviously for me, people would now coming to me with their music, which they always had done for the channel, but they were coming to me now, and instead of me just being able to play it on the channel, I was then reaching out to my contacts and obviously just, kind of getting them to radio, getting them interviews, getting them, on TV, getting them, in magazines and getting, reviews about them and everything else. So it was just very much about kind of working with our clients and kind of pushing them out to as many spaces as we could, so that we we could build on who they were and build on their artistry and their awareness.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, it was brilliant, absolutely amazing. And some of the people that we worked with and some of the clients, some of the it was just brilliant. I think because it already felt like home. It was already part of what I'd done and the industry and the scene that I was in. It was just great because people knew how enthusiastic and passionate I was about that scene anyway, so they were very trusting and with giving me their music is their baby, right? So it's they're literally handing it over to me and saying look after it and make it grow, and that's exactly what I was doing. But it was brilliant, and I think like you said before, it was such a key time for that genre of music. So it was just we just felt like that we were right in the center of it. It was brilliant. It was so exciting. Yeah, excellent. And our name, as 10 letter, our name was just getting bounced around everywhere. Everyone was like, oh yeah, you've got to use 10 letter, to the point where we started with obviously independent artists that were just like, oh, we don't know where to go with things. And then what we'd get is, because major labels obviously have their own in-house PR and marketing and stuff. But what you'd find is, because we were dealing with quite a niche genre of music, not all of their PR understood it or had those connections. So then we were getting employed by the major labels to do their stuff as well, which was brilliant. And all their upcoming acts and their newly signed acts, it's we do the grassroots work for them.
So can you name some of the people that we might have heard of that you were working with?
Oh God, I've worked with of course. It's Crepton Conan, Bugsy Malone, Skepta and the Boy Better Know guys. We did loads of stuff for Lord of the Mics. Funnily enough, obviously, Roman plays crazy amounts of football. We did this amazing project with Lord of the Mics, who were a brand, a massive grime brand, and they do clashes, rap clashes against two different MCs, and they did a bit of a celebrity one, and they had Yannick Balassi and Bradley Wright Phillips on it, who were amazing. They were so good. Anyway, Roman was doing something for football the other day, and I literally just sent Yannick a message on Instagram like, "Oh, can you do me a massive favour? Would you mind sending him like a little, like a little video and just say like, oh, good luck to him?" So he said, like, Yannick, who's got like 1 million followers on Instagram, is just like, "Yeah, Kat, of course, oh my gosh, sure, that's no problem at all." Just sends over a little video for Roman. And I was like, brilliant, absolutely ace.
It's so cool.
It's very good, but it's lovely. It's like, and even now, it's just, like there's still like there's so much connection. And I think because 20 years of my life's been like in the music industry. It's like you grow with people, you see people get married, you see them have kids, like all that kind of thing. And it's like you do like and obviously we're part of the Instagram generation. I think that and social media. So you've seen them all like do this stuff like throughout, and you follow each other. And although we're like 300 miles away from each other, it's like you still not know what's kind of going on in each other's lives. And it's easy just to be like, amazing, I'm seeing what you're doing. Like, that's really good. And just check in with each other now and again, which is lovely. It just makes you feel like you're part of that community, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very good.
Oh. So what's happening now? What are you doing now?
So, like, going back, like, stepping back into the whole personal thing. So, when I had, so I've obviously had the PR company for, like, that's kind of like, 12, 13 years. And I got to a point where I just thought, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And I felt like things, just as they had, like, everything evolves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I got to the point where the same thing that happened with the TV, like, channel, and where I was with that, obviously YouTube came in, like, TV started, kind of taking more of a back seat and everything. There wasn't the need for it. Like, the exposure wasn't there. And so then what happened with the whole PR thing was obviously social media started rising up, magazines stopped, like everything started going online, which was great. Like, obviously we moved into that. But then slowly but surely, it's like, kind of everyone was getting their information and their news from different places. The rise of, kind of streaming platforms, Spotify, like, all, like all that kind of thing, like Apple Music and all that kind of thing. That really stopped us from like being able to work in the same way that we could, particularly for new upcoming acts, because the platforms weren't there anymore.
It's totally different
for them to go to. It's like, and unless you had like, it stopped becoming about PR and about people being like really excited about new music and discovering new music, to becoming how much money have you got to spend in order to market it so people can see your new music. And obviously for a lot of them, they don't have that money, and they're competing with the major labels and stuff like that have got money to throw into these, and have also got those partnerships with, like your Apple Musics and, everybody else that they can rely on for, because they've got the huge, like, multi-million selling artists on there, so they can ask for the favours for the, newly signed ones. So yeah, everything started changing for that. And it just, and around a similar kind of time, I went through like a big, like, kind of like personal, like, challenge that ended up really in a really difficult space, and ended up putting me in hospital. And then I ended up with brain damage from the incident that happened. Lost my sense of taste, lost my sense of smell. And that was in January of 2020. So that happened, and then COVID hit. And I was like, oh my God, like, like all of a sudden I was completely by myself again, and like going through this huge, like, personal turmoil, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with kids and homeschool and still run a business and everything else. And it was just like honestly, it was like my mind was just blown with it all. It was just like, wow, like, how many punches can I take right now? Because this is like really a lot. So I think that really for me kind of changed where I was. And I think for that first year or so, maybe for the first couple of years, I was just like, just get through it. Like that was the feeling that I had, just get through it, right? Like luckily I've got an amazing team at 10 Letter. They really stuck by it. Yeah. They really like, you know, kind of supported me. They were obviously aware of what had happened with me. So they were very supportive, which, you know, kind of allowed me to still do what I was doing. I think I probably chucked myself into work quite heavily at that point as well. But it was very much like it was survival mode, you know? And then when I started to come out of that a couple of years later, I think because of everything connected to it and around it, I thought, I need to change something. Yeah, I've got to change something now. I started waking up and thinking, being anxious about opening my emails. And I was like, I'm not doing that to myself. No way. I was like, I'm definitely not doing that to myself. So at that point, I decided that I was going to take a big back step and just like kind of like, you know, like I think things had changed. I was in a different space, like, you know, kind of emotionally and, you know, like just, yeah, I just thought, right, I've got to move things along. So there's so many interconnected stories. I'm like, where does it all go? During COVID, apart from obviously chucking myself into work, I also decided I'd just had planning permission granted on my house because I had some barns at the back of my house. So I chucked myself into converting those. So I got all those converted. The same guy that taught me how to plaster came and did them for me, of course. And he got all those going. So by the time that they were finished and everything, and like I'd kind of like, you know, got through my like personal battles, it was about 2022. And at that point I was like I got that, like I started it up as an Airbnb. And I thought, do you know what? I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying that kind of like, you know, like the property side of it, making things look nice, like, you know, just like even just going in and like getting it cleaned and like all that kind of thing. It just felt a bit more therapeutic and it felt like I didn't have to think about it for a little while. Yeah. And that's what I felt like I really needed. I was like, I just need some time not to think about stuff and not to have all this pressure on me. So yeah, at that point, like Nina, who works for me, I said to her, I was like, right, come on. I said, there's nowhere else for you to go. Like the only place for you to go in 10 Letter now is to take, you know, like to take my position. So I said, come on, you come on board. I gave her like shares in the company and everything. I said, I'm stepping right back out of this. I'm out. And she was just like, oh my God, really? And I was like, yep. I said, over to you, mate. I said, like, you know, you can do what you want with it now. I said, like, you take it. I said, I've done everything. It's served its purpose for me now. I just need to move back, which I never thought I would do with 10 Letter because it was my heart and soul and it was mine. But it just got to the point where I was like, nope, that's it.
There's another really important lesson in there.
100%.
Doesn't have to be forever.
Absolutely.
Letting go is just as important as throwing yourself in the first place, isn't it?
It really massively is. And I think that, yeah, like, and you've got to dig deep in that though, because I think that it's a difficult internal conversation
to let go than it is to throw yourself in.
Oh my, yeah, because it's like you don't know what's coming, do you? Whereas when you're letting go of the emotional side as well as just what it is, right? And it is that whole thing of, you know, like, are you, you know, like, but I think sometimes we hang on to stuff unnecessarily. And then it's like, I wanted to go out at a high, you know, like it was like 10 Letter's done amazing things. Like I've worked with incredible people on some very successful campaigns. Like it had a brilliant name and all that kind of thing. And for me, I felt like we weren't able to continue delivering in the same way that I wanted it to deliver. In which case I was like, do you know what? Let Nina do it the way she wants to now, because it's like, for me, it's like, I'm just going to feel like I'm always chasing something. And I've never chased it. I've always like, you know, been the one to throw it out there and go. Like, you know, it's just, you know, I didn't want to feel like that. I didn't want the anxiety of it and to feel like, you know, kind of stuck. And I'd sat in a room in my house by myself for years. I wanted to be out and about, you know.
What's next then? What's next?
You know, do you know what? I always, this is one thing that I always say. I'm like, you know, like I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do when I grow up. Like, because I always,
Me too.
right? It's just like, you know, like, and I think that I'm really lucky because I've got my bits of property things that I do. Like I've started obviously like a housekeeping business that I love. Like I love being able to go and like help people and, you know, kind of, you know, like I feel like I've got like this whole extended family now, and I go to different people and, you know, kind of like just make their lives a little bit nicer and a little bit better by doing what I do within their homes and within their families and stuff, which is great. And I enjoy that. Whether I do that forever, I have no idea. I might change it tomorrow, you know, but it's just at the moment it serves its purpose. And I, like, you know, I've got like different things coming in, like financially everything's like sound, and I just think, yeah, like, you know, what if an opportunity comes around the corner, or I suddenly think to myself, I'm going to do that, then I will.
Yeah, why not?
But I think, like, you know, my kids are the ages that they are, they demand a lot of my time. So at the moment it just feels like, yeah, I'm just making it work because it works for me in my life and my children's lives. Yeah, but I don't think I'll do it forever. And I think that once they, like, well, Tegan's up and away, you know, she's going to start learning to drive next month. So I just think once things are going to change again. Yeah. And they'll change again when Roman goes to secondary. And that's one thing that I've been really aware of lately, is the fact that I think that until Tegan finished school, it felt like that was going to be what life feels like forever. But then all of a sudden Tegan's left and I'm like, God, it changes again. And like, you know, like you have all these little sections along the way and like life continuously changes. And at all those different points, it's like I've reacted to that with whatever I'm doing in work, or, you know, like kind of my, you know, like any kind of like, not even just work, but like things that I'm investing in, and, you know, like how, you know, like how I'm financing my life and all the rest of it. So it's just like, you know, looking at all those different opportunities of how do I still have that time on my side and still get to enjoy things and still do what I need to do with the kids, and, you know, the balancing act of it all. But yeah, I'm excited. I think that like different things will come 100%, and I've got no idea what they'll be.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. I think on that, like, you know, I think one of the hardest bits has probably been, especially with kind of like doing things more locally and up here, is I feel like, and this is a real like ego thing, I feel like, but I'm just being honest, you go from being like kind of like, everyone kind of knows your name and you're very much like this person that, like, you know, is kind of like spoken about in high regard and all the rest of it, to just suddenly feeling like you're in this kind of, just fit in this little gap, you know, and that it's like you're not really kind of anyone anymore. And I think that that's sometimes difficult, but that's definitely a me issue. You know what I mean? What's the thing that they call it? Oh gosh, I can't remember what the term that he is. You know, like when you're kind of looking into yourself, and, you know, like you're panicking about kind of where you are. That's definitely a me thing though.
It's happening in you.
Yeah, definitely.
But you said you were where you meant to be.
Yeah, and I am, because I think that because going back to what we said before, I couldn't work for someone. And I definitely looked at jobs and whether or not I could do that. And the more I toyed with that idea, the more I thought I definitely can't do that. I just need to just do what I'm doing and just make it work for me. And it's great. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining me. I think the only thing that was missing was a glass of Prosecco.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, you know me so well, then.
That was incredible. Thank you.
Oh,
I
good.
really,
No, I'm really
mean
pleased
it.
you enjoy it. Thank you.
Brill. Thank you for listening. If Kat's story has inspired you to go, do you know what? Why not? About an aspect of your life, and you're interested in some coaching, then you can contact me at reflectiverebels.co.uk, where you can also sign up to the newsletter for more inspiration.